Live from the Preston Highway Studios, it's 24-hour Purple People. And now here's your host, John Harper.
Hello and welcome to 24-hour Purple People. My name is John Harper and I'm absolutely thrilled to have you along for the ride today as we are all set for episode 16 of 24-hour Purple People, our favorite Purple program covering all things Louisville City FC, Racing Lou, and a whole lot more. A hot weekend here in Louisville. I know I mowed the grass this morning. I think Matt did too. Ken probably just sat on his ass because he enjoys retirement. Gentlemen, hello and welcome to the program. It's so good to have you both. How are y'all doing today?
It's great to have us too. Thank you, John. Thank you for that. Oh, Ken hasn't figured out that mute button yet.
I
He'll get there. There we go.
I feel like an old person. I couldn't unmute myself. I am just sitting on my ass like a retired person.
Yeah, well, you are retired. I guess you deserve that, Ken.
Way to rub it in.
I hope your air conditioners are working good out there. Ours is it's on its last leg, so not doing so great.
Gonna have to shoot it at some point.
Yeah, I'm gonna put it out of its misery. It's not really pumping out any cool air. But this episode might be full of a lot of hot air, and we start with some hot air as we were all set for that showdown against Phoenix Rising. Joe, and I have some highlights I'd like to play. It was hot at Lynn Family Stadium on Wednesday night. 10,000 plus showed up for the USL Showcase Showdown. Guys, I got some highlights here, but it was a pretty rough game. Lou City, maintains their place at the top of the Eastern Conference. Ken, I'll start with you today. How did you feel about this match? It was hot. A draw, gets us a point, but obviously not what we come to expect from Louisville City at this point in the junction.
Well, I think Phoenix played like they were supposed to play, which is a lot better than their current standings indicate. I think it was a game of missed opportunities on our part. There were a significant amount of chances that we were unable to put away, which was kind of depressing a little bit because I think we could have scored quite a few there because we had quite a few penetrations on their wing, especially by people like Manny Perez that were able to get the ball across, and just a swing and a miss. Not only on one player, but a couple of players had a number of swings and misses. So the storyline in my book on this is Phoenix played better than they've been playing all season. They played probably where their talent should indicate, and we missed a lot of chances.
Matt, when you look at this game, strong performances from both goalkeepers. Our old good friend Ben Lunt out there for Phoenix. We dominated the possession in this game. Why do you think we just weren't able to convert on those chances?
Yeah, I mean, not to take anything away from Ben Lunt, who we all know is one of the best keepers in the league. He went out there and earned that point for Phoenix pretty much by himself. But we had enough chances in the second half for sure, at least over 60% possession. We finished with an expected goals mark of like 1.22, I believe, which is down from our average, but it still should have been enough to find us a goal. Man, I think Ray Serrano had a great game for the most part. Whenever I think Ray Serrano is a little maybe out of his depths in terms of his decision-making maybe, or his play off the ball, he always finds a way at some point in the game to make me go, oh yeah, that's why he's on the pitch, right? So excellent service from him. He had a great cross to Ownby a game or so ago, and in this game he had a great through ball to Jorge and a long, accurate cross to set up Wilson for his best chance of the night. And this was well past the 80th minute, which just makes it all the more impressive to me. In the 110 was 110 with the wind chill. What's the opposite of wind chill?
Hot chill.
Hot chill with the hot chill like well over 100. I think we can't applaud any goals in this game, right? Which is unfortunate, but I do think that we can applaud the effort that these guys put out. We outshot them by 4 shots. We were passing circles around them with an 84% completion rate. Short week, right? Playing a team that's been off for 10 days, who've got their backs against the wall with really nothing to lose. And we still managed to run them ragged. And boy, do they lay down a lot.
Yes.
I think Danny Cruz mentioned in the post game, every time they started to get some momentum going, Phoenix is on the ground and they're laying down, and it really kind of puts a damper on things. Can't really get much kind of linked together if you have to stop play.
They played for a point. That's what they did. They played for especially near the end of the game. They played for a tie.
Mm-hmm.
I think the short turnaround from Memphis to this game, and the type of talent and speed that they have on Phoenix forced us to play a less high line, a low line. I don't know if that makes any sense. We weren't playing as a high press as we normally played, so we were building out of the back at a further distance than we normally do. So when the ball turns over, you have to push it farther forward. And I just think the tired legs from the short turnaround and the heat just kind of gave us an impotent attack.
Yeah, City 24 touches in the box, and Ben Lunt coming up huge with those saves. What we come to expect from Ben Lunt, a homecoming of sorts from him at Lim Family Stadium, but he definitely was a difference maker. And don't take away anything from Kyle Morton. He has some great saves, especially in the first half. I think it was the 28th minute or so, a fantastic save that could have been the game winner for Phoenix.
Yep.
And that's just kind of how soccer works. Some big opportunities there that the goalkeeper earns his keep, no pun intended, but a great performance by Kyle Morton as well. It was very hot, very, very hot, but we all made it through, barely. I melted, but
I tell you what, I came, I think it was halftime. I came over, I was trying my Cooper's Colony thing, which we can talk about later. And I came around to the other end and I saw Matt walking through, and he looked kind of like Lawrence of Arabia because he had like the wet towels hanging from underneath his hat.
Yeah, man.
You
gotta do what you gotta do.
I was like, "Are you hot?"
None of the
Yes, I
moisture
am
in that
hot.
towel was water. That was sweat. That was all sweat.
Aaron
John had me
Crawford.
up there for an hour on
I
that
did not.
stand in the blazing hot sun.
Hey, I was starving. I tried to eat your shoe, and I was really hungry. Aaron Crawford brought up a good point. They were only on 11 days rest. Of course, Louisville City came
Oh,
right.
is that it?
Yeah, right off of that game with Memphis at Memphis. So we've been playing in some hot environments as of late, and hopefully later in the episode we're going to have a little breakdown of what we should expect Friday when Racing hosts Portland. I'm interested to see what the weather is going to be like for that contest. Of course, Wednesday was not only a normal soccer evening in Louisville, it was the USL showcase, summer showcase, I should say. The showcase was it was a pretty interesting
showcase.
event. The
It
show
actually started the night before, did it not?
it did. It did. And if these highlights would play, maybe you could see them. Oh, there they go.
Ooh.
Tuesday evening at the Noble Funk
Funk.
Brewery. Yes, thank you. In downtown Louisville, we had USL All Access, Mike Watson, Devin Kerr. Some little swag there. I definitely bought one of those bucket hats. I could help myself.
What was going on with the shirts? Does anybody know the story behind the yin and yang shirts that they're wearing there?
I don't know.
Sure, we're interesting.
It was very interesting.
It's like they're two Legos that you stick together. I don't know what's going on here.
Mike Watts does kind of have the Lego Man ID going. George Davis IV in the house. That was good to see
Hey,
him.
club legend.
Good solid crowd on hand and a lot of good interesting stories being told by the gentlemen. A 2-hour special edition of the USL All Access. They had a raffle at one point, and you filled in this little card. I was being told to put all my family members, and then I get picked. Isn't that interesting?
Hey,
I won the main prize there. So
Are you wearing a GoPro on your head there? What's going on?
I just happened to be filming at the same time. Lou City players Niall McCabe and PDP were in the house. Niall with a funny look talking to Aiden Quinn.
Wait,
Aiden,
Can I say something about this?
Sure.
So I'm standing there talking to John in the back, and John's like, "Hey, I'm going to go talk to these Phoenix fans over there." It was the only person wearing Phoenix colors. And I was like, "That's not a Phoenix fan. That's Aiden Quinn."
Yeah. Well, I was just thinking.
He's like, "Oh, okay, never mind."
Yeah. It'd been a while since I'd seen Aiden Quinn in person, if I even remember what he looked like in person.
Look at all this pomp.
Yeah, a lot
pomp
of
in this
pomp and
circumstance.
circumstance. Gentlemen, the game was kind of the main event of this showcase. Matt, I'll start with you. All the things that entailed this USL summer showcase, of course, the inaugural one here in Louisville. How do you feel about the event? Do you feel like it's something that will continue on? And what benefits do you think that we got out of it here in Louisville?
Well, the benefits to the local tourism and local bars, I mean, I think they had over 200 dignitaries. I'm going to call them dignitaries, owners, club, people that work for the league. The bourgeoisie was here in force. And they were really kind of touring around downtown, getting to see all the sights thereof, right? It's almost like the game was sort of not an afterthought, but it's like, okay, here's a game as well. Like, it wasn't necessarily the main event, I think. They had the summer meetings here. So it wasn't, there were some things for fans to do, but it wasn't really fan focused, I think. It was more for the higher ups, which is fine. They got empanadas. I noticed you didn't get any. John and I walked by the craft services table that they had for all the folks in the tent, and they had some really nice looking food.
Yes.
Yeah,
they gave
empanadas again.
They
delicious.
They gave them an entire section down there, Ken. They took away, and it's kind of ironic. That's a certain section you might have been interested in, but set up this nice tent to block the sun, and then they have all this food. Delicious food. It looked delicious from my vantage point, walking around the stadium. But yeah, well, how do you feel about this summer showcase? And I'll ask you this too, a two-parter. What do you think is the next city to host?
Who are you asking, me?
Yeah, you.
Well, I got some fucking opinions about this summer showcase.
Here we go.
Well,
let's go. Let's do it.
You talk about irony, right? So I'm like, we're going to do this Cooper's Colony thing, and we're going to rebel against the rich people forcing us into the sun. And what happened? Well, they fucking didn't even allow us to go where we wanted to go because the rich people took the entire fucking section, set up a tent, ate shrimp cocktails, and drank Jim Beam. Jim Beam! Are you fucking kidding me? Why would you serve these people Jim Beam? I think I have photographic evidence that they were serving them Jim Beam. I don't know. I think it's a problem. I think they should have served them better bourbon. That's just me. Maybe some people like Jim Beam. Anyway.
At least it wasn't Jack Daniels, I guess.
Yeah, at least it wasn't Jack Daniels. Jim Beam. What? I didn't understand that. So, yeah, my entire strategy with the Cooper's Colony got destroyed. When I walked in the stadium, I'm like, well, can't go there. I think some people tried to kind of warn me that this was going to happen, but me, I don't freaking listen to people very much. So that's my fault. Summer showcase in general, when you think about this is when they're supposed to be making decisions, strategic decisions as a league. And they have a couple to make, right? 2 teams are going away next year. This is kind of, now the USL kind of gets to be its own thing, separated from the MLS. This is, something a lot of us have wanted. The terrible twos, gone. There's been a lot of discussion up to a couple of months ago about promotion relegation in the USL, to even where our president was saying, hey, we're going to do this. The USL president we're going to do this before the World Cup in 2026, which makes strategic sense to me. So 2025-ish, they probably got to kind of fill out the league. I haven't heard a peep coming from this conference of whether they discussed promotion relegation and whether they decided on promotion relegation. There's been absolutely nothing, which worries me because I'm a big pro rel type of guy. So that kind of sucks. The other one is, are we going to go to some sort of, winter schedule or something like that where, we're going to be able to align ourselves with the European schedule. I don't know. It's super hard to do when you have a country that has got like super hot in some places and super cold in other places. It's got a Midwest. It's got like ice storms raging through it from December to March. That's probably on the back burner even more than Pro Rel, but I really want to know kind of where is the strategic direction of this Pro Rel thing. And I didn't hear a peep, and that's sad, I think, because it sounds like it might be dying. I'm not sure.
I didn't hear any reporting whatsoever about anything coming out of those meetings. So I guess the winter meetings is where they do most of the brainstorming, and a lot of the newer stuff gets sort of sent through. But I didn't hear anything at all about anything coming out of these meetings. Do we have a TV deal? Does US are there any movements on that? Is there a TV deal for next year?
I think the big deal is MLS is going to Apple, right? I don't know how that's going to work, but that opens up space in ESPN and other providers for USL. So that potentially is an opportunity. I'll be fucking pissed if they're like, okay, you got to play during the summer, game time start at 7, like they did for the Phoenix game, because that's just going to fucking kill us. Why did I get a yellow card? What did I get a yellow card for, ref? Come on. I have a yellow card.
It was
what?
It was a long time ago. Sorry about that. Keep it up.
You're not going to red him for that? Come on. That's a second.
He's allowed to argue a little bit, I guess.
All right.
No, I mean, yeah, we didn't get really too much news out of it. I think this was really just an excuse to showcase the stadium on the slowest sports news day of the sports day of the year, whatever it is. They did a great job, I think, with the event on Tuesday night, and it was fun. But not much.
We didn't talk about the taco bar, did we?
There was a taco bar. I was able to get a tortilla shell and not pay a dime for it, thanks to Rebecca.
$24 for a taco bar, and it was like they didn't even have lettuce. Come on, no lettuce at the taco bar. Come on.
All right.
This is a man who loves his lettuce, folks.
He loves his lettuce. Does he love this though? Oh, it didn't work. Oh, you're lucky this time. Haha. Okay. Well, I'm glad that the showcase is over. I think it was, it was something. Nobody answered, where do you think it's going to be next year? Real quick. Ken, where do you think it's going to be?
Does anybody have a new stadium opening up soon?
I think it'll be out west. So whoever's got the newest and shiniest toy out west, and it'll be an east-west matchup out west, probably.
I think it was a big. I think they really showed, this was big for the owners to show, hey, if you invest into your team and you guys get your own soccer-specific stadiums, not only is that good for the league, but look at what you can do, right? Look what you can provide your fan base. You could have this too. You too could have this, and I mean that's really, if you want to talk about Pro Rel, that's the thing that I think needs to happen more than anything else. Is we need better facilities within the league.
Do you think people with stadiums like us want Pro Rel? Like the people that own the stadium, not you and I. But
probably not, no.
Probably not. They're like, no, I'm not going to go down to third division with this shiny stadium. Why would I do that? So,
well, we'll see. And only time will tell. I believe the USL is still very, very young, obviously, and some big decisions being made down the road. They're going to do what's going to be most profitable. I believe, first and foremost. Somewhat understandable and somewhat disappointing at the same time, but it is what it is, and only time will tell. We will see. Thanks for being on the chat today. We have Hope and Rebecca out there as well.
Hey.
They're discussing where those rich folks kicked you out that you never set in the first place. And
they wouldn't even let me in. They heard I was coming, and they're like, ropes, security guards.
Well, was it a velvet rope at least? Could you rub your face on it?
No, it was like that white engineer tape, man. It wasn't even fancy rope.
All right, let's move on, gentlemen. Rose City Rumble. So, coming up this Friday evening at Lynn Family Stadium, Racing Lou will be hosting Portland Thorns, and we're hoping that maybe it won't be as hot. Portland is a dangerous team, Matt. It looks like to me, just based on these stats, they are one of the best teams on FOTMob and all the rankings. The scariest part, their goals per match, just kind of blowing away the rest of the league. Tell us a little bit about the Thorns and what do we got to do to stop them?
So Portland trails San Diego by a point, but you'd be really hard pressed to not call them just by far the league's best team. 8 straight unbeaten, the only team with a double-digit goal differential at plus 19. They're leading the league in goals, assists, shots on goals, shutouts, and in their last game, they set the record for the 3 fastest goals scored after kickoff in barely over 10 minutes. All 7 of their best players on international duty, seven players, including U.S. women's team captain Becky Sauerbrunn and Sophia Smith, who has just been lighting it up at the CONCACAF W Championship. She had a brace against Jamaica. Those international players are going to be back against us on Friday at 8. But we'll have our international backs as well, and it is much needed. This is a team we haven't beaten or drawn against ever. But we've seen Racing play well against the top of the table when the lights are brightest before this year a couple times. So it's going to be an uphill battle nonetheless, right? Portland hasn't lost since May, and they've got a game in hand while they're looking to leapfrog San Diego in the standings and kind of pad that lead in the stretch of games against teams that are below the playoff line. They got a pivotal matchup also at the end of August against the Wave. So, yeah, they want to pad those. We've created a number of good chances, but we just haven't been able to finish this year, and that's been kind of widely discussed. But the biggest test we'll be facing is definitely on the defensive end. Sophia Smith is second in the Golden Boot race with 8 on the year, and she's joined in the top 10 by Canadian national team starter Christine Sinclair. But while those two have scored almost half of the goals for Portland this year, they have a lot of depth too. Their last game, they had 5 different goal scorers. Again, these are players who weren't on the international break, so they're B team, I guess you could say. 5 different goal scorers. They're rolling, right? If we can muster a point against Portland, I'll be pleased as punch. And if I'm being totally honest, if I can walk away from this game happy, it'll be because we avoided a blowout. If I'm being brutally honest, I think we're gonna get fucking killed. I'm sorry.
Red card him for that.
Optimistic.
Come on. Red,
He's so
straight
optimistic.
Red for that.
That's brutally honest, guys.
Straight red.
It's not
Not even
working.
a yellow. Are you
His
Nothing.
reds aren't working. Yes,
It's
I
not
can say
working.
whatever I want.
Ken,
Get your cards in the locker room.
yeah, I forgot my cards. Ken, how about this one though? I got that. Ken, how do you feel? You feel the same way? I mean, yeah, the stats are not pretty.
His stats are against us.
How do you feel about this game? You know, a team that Racing has not yet defeated or even had a draw with since joining the league.
Did we surrender when the Germans bombed Pearl Harbor?
Hell no.
We did not, right?
Sure didn't.
There's always hope, right? You say that we've never drawn or won against this team. Well, there's a first time for everything. I think the way we played against San Diego, if we could just make a couple of those things work more for us. So how do you beat this team, right? Because we've got, Nadim and Fox coming back, so that's awesome. But they've got Sophia Smith, Rocky Rodriguez, Sauerbrunn, Sinclair. They're all freaking coming back, right? And they're all international stars and things like that. Thank goodness Lindsey Huron has been loaned out to where? Olympic Lyon or somewhere in Europe, right? Because, she's one of my favorite players on the U.S. national team. She's not going to be there. So this is good. I think what we need to do is we need to keep possession. We need to make the space really small. And then should Sophia Smith, who's fast as heck, get away, we're going to match her up against Emily Fox on that side. And that's going to be your key matchup of the game. But make that space really small. Use your players like Lester and Chidiac to control possession and dominate possession. Wear them out in the kind of heat that we got around here. And then take your chances with Nadia Nadim that has really not gotten a chance to prove herself on the field. And that's how I think we can do it.
No, I think that's very fair. Portland not used to this environment, and we're going to talk about a little bit later what the weather should be like, as well as more sun debate, because why not? But yeah, we'll welcome them in Friday evening, a match that should be very interesting to see. It'll be a very tough challenge for Racing, but we'll see if they are up to that challenge. And we've talked a lot about them getting over the hump. That's really what we need them to do, and what a better way than beating Portland on Friday evening at Lynn Family Stadium. We'll see.
Do you think we see Nadia with the start I want to see both her
Yeah.
and J Mac in the starting lineup.
I think it's
Yes,
time. Hmm.
Let me give you the starting lineup, and then Saturday you tell me if I'm right or not. Lund in the back, Fox, Lester, Bonner, Wine. How do you say it? The one from West Ham. What do you say? Wine. We don't know. Wine. All right. Lester, Bonner, Wine, Fox across the back, Chidiac, Howell, Olafson in the middle, DeMello up top like she started last game, Nadeem in the middle, and McDonald on the right wing. There it is. There's your lineup.
There you go.
Bow.
There you
I
go.
like it.
Yep, I like it too. Should be a good contest. We shall see. Gentlemen, I got this fixed. Let me just make sure. Oh, there we go. Ha ha. That's unfortunate. All right. Well, since you're both on red, I'm going to go ahead and go on to the next subject. This coming Saturday, we're heading down to the wild, wild west of Texas. Oh dear, what is happening over there? He's got a gigantic sword. Put that thing down before you hurt somebody. My lord. Louisville City is off to... Well, don't destroy your own chair. Louisville City is off to El Paso to play a team that is 5th in the USL Western Conference. You're not going to throw me off today with your sword fighting, Ken. This team in El Paso is fantastic at passing. They have great possession stats and have looked strong off and on this year. But they have not scored in their last 2 matches. Matt, when you look at this El Paso team, what do you think about them? We haven't heard too much about them so far.
You guys like Marty Robbins like I do? Sure you do. So, down in the West Texas town of El Paso, we'll try to get 3 more points on the road. That's for you guys. I did that. That's beautiful. Thank you.
It's very good.
If you were to describe El Paso's season to a baby, you would just do this, right? Just up and down.
Mm-hmm.
And the baby would probably nod its head solemnly and maybe put 2 fingers to its lips in deep thought like that. We have drawn El Paso at a very interesting time. After starting the year losing 6 of their first 7, El Paso managed to turn it around with a 10-game unbeaten streak that spanned nearly 2 months and saw them climb back up the table. But they're scoreless and winless in their last 2 games, and they've dropped to 5th place and are dealing with the departure of a couple stalwart midfielders in Richie Ryan and Sebastian Velasquez. One of those departures has the USLPA looking into it as a breach of their CBA, so that's not good. So there's a little bit of turmoil within their locker room, right? This has left El Paso kind of paper thin in the midfield. There's some talent there, kind of surrounded by mostly teenagers. Dylan Mares, Eric Cavillo, and Josue Gomez are bearing the weight of those midfield assignments, and they fed Luis Solanac for 7 goals so far in open play. But I don't know if you guys know this, but we have a really good midfield. We have a pretty solid midfield. It's pretty deep. So I'm hoping that we can win this midfield battle. On the defending end, El Paso's kind of been a little shaky, and they're switching up their back line quite a bit. The center backs in particular have been very inconsistent, and there's been a fair amount of turnover there. But they've got Evan Newton between the sticks, our old nemesis, and they've managed to record 8 clean sheets while facing almost twice as many shots as City has so far. So,
yeah, Yuma is certainly a dangerous ball handler for them. Ken, who else do we have to look for with El Paso? How do you feel about this matchup on Saturday night at 9:30 Eastern time with El Paso? Whoop.
He's still muted, isn't
Once
he?
again, I am an old person. Yes. Okay. So what I was saying is,
You're not old. Here's the yellow.
Over a week of rest, which I think is what we needed.
Good.
And it seems like Wilson Harris is starting to get healthy, may even be able to have a starting role. And as you've already alluded to, Matt, in your expert analysis, is that we have a dominating effect in our midfield against them, which is kind of patchwork. And they've got some young players which we can take advantage of. It's an away trip, so it's going to be a little bit harder. They have a pretty good support base at home. So we're going to have those issues, but it's not going to have high humidity. I think we'll be able to play well in high heat against that team. So I think we have a real good opportunity to steal 3 points from them.
Yeah,
I looked up the humidity for this game in El Paso, and it's only 36%.
It's
which
a
is
desert.
good.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, it's a desert.
Desert.
So
Yeah, that's pretty good. El Paso, I believe, is the closest USL team to Melissa and Angie Potter, if I'm not mistaken. They live down that way.
They were. They might have moved on. Melissa
did?
was at the Sergeant's Major Academy at Fort, whatever it is there.
For whatever it is.
That's only a year-long hitch, so I think she's moved somewhere else.
Ah, I see. Well, nevertheless, I remember they went to one of their games, the Locomotive.
Right.
Yeah, this team does look pretty strong. They had a real tough loss on Saturday to San Antonio, which is the West best team.
Best team in the
Yep.
USL right now,
Well,
by
that's
3
true.
or so points.
Yep. So they, we'll see what we can do from them. Like I said, they do possess the ball really well. They do create a lot of chances, but they miss a majority of those chances. So this is going to be a team that is going to be a lot of fun. Hopefully we can get that win. It'd be good to kind of bounce back from this showcase, get it over with, and now that's out of the way, get back to business and move on, hopefully with a win down in Texas, partner. All right. Last week we talked about that's all the Western I can do.
partner.
Yeah.
Partner.
Last week we talked about the Sun a little bit, right? So we thought we might talk about it just a tad bit more, and we want to also
Let's beat this horse.
Yeah, let's just beat this horse. But
Well, it's a puddle of meat and hooves.
we want to kind of talk about some other things surrounding the Sun, not stars or clouds, but some of the other factors and some of the things we've been talking about maybe offline during this week. Gentlemen, I actually put together I'm going to let this play for a second here. Ooh. This is a bit of a time lapse. Now, this started right as halftime started at the game. This is about about 55 minutes of footage here. Just to give you a point of reference on how the Sun comes and goes during these games. This is, halfway through the second half. As you can see, we bumped the camera at one point. The clouds got really crazy. I think one of us tweeted something about Voldemort being at the stadium. It looked insane. Some of the post-match pictures were really awesome looking. But nevertheless, it's just beaming down, and as you can see, it slowly goes behind that scoreboard, and all is well. But
at what minute did it kind of shrink behind the scoreboard?
That was, I believe, it was close to the 75th minute, I want to say, something like that. Now that was
I can see the faces melting like Raiders of the Lost Ark while
7 o'clock
going down.
7 o'clock start, so a little bit different, but nevertheless, the Sun is a continual problem, as Ken alluded to. The Cooper's Colony, getting booted out by Bourgeoisie at the
other half.
The higher half.
That might not be the case in future matchups, as that area might be available. But Ken, here in a moment, we will see a picture that you sent me, which is kind of what the Coopers, the Estopanol end look like from down at the other side. Here is a fun little thing. Ken, I'm going to let you talk to the crowd about this one.
Okay, so if you go to suncalc.org, any architect can do it. You can determine the sun angles on any day of the year at any time of the year. So
is that their motto or something?
Any architect can do it. That's their motto. So what I did is I just put, okay, so when's the next game? So this is the racing game. And I said, okay, if I'm standing on the capo stand in the racing game, which is the black dot on the screen right there in Lynn Family Stadium at 8 p.m., because that's kickoff, where is the sun going to be? And it's going to be the yellow dot. Right, so you can see the scoreboard on there, and then you can kind of see that left end of the stadium. You see that kind of gap between the scoreboard and the left end of the stadium.
Mm-hmm.
Which what I can't see on my screen, I don't know if people at home can see it, is you can see kind of a lot of the math behind it. So what you're really looking for is if it's greater than 5 degrees in altitude, it's going to be right in your face. And if it's like 295 degrees in azimuth, then it's going to be not behind. If it's more than 295, it'll be behind the scoreboard. But if it's less than 295, it's going to be right in that gap, right in your face. So what I've determined, based on my infinite knowledge of astrology from Plato, is that the sun is going to be in our face approximately 24 minutes from kickoff at an 8 p.m. kickoff on Friday the 30th. Anybody can go to suncalc.org. They can check it out and determine for themselves where they want to be.
This is beautiful. Yes, very informative.
Wow.
It's very interesting indeed. It's it is brutal down there. It was hot. This shot, Ken, I believe you took. Do you know approximately when this was taken?
That was the early part of the game. So I was standing down there in what became of the Cooper's Colony, which was like 5 of us that had to kind of mix in with Scous's house, which was a little bit awkward. But we made it work. And I took a picture of the supporters group in, and we talked about it for a little while. Is what are the things that we could do to improve the end? So you'll see I think what I talked about last time, you see kind of the gray and white seats in the 2 side sections that make it look like there are more people than are actually in that section. That's the whole purpose behind these things. So why could we not do something similar in the supporter section? Banners, flags, I don't know, things like that we could hang up there, to maybe make it look a little bit. It helps optics, but it doesn't necessarily put people in the section. But it would help optics and make it look kind of cool. The problem is you actually have to walk up there and you put flags in there, and then at the end of the game you have to walk up there and take them down. So what's the incentive behind doing that? I don't know. Love of the team. You like doing steps. You need your cardio, something like that. we could do things like that potentially, just to kind of help the optics. And then once you help the optics, then you can generate more people. Maybe the club will kind of lower the price to like $5.02, and they'll sell lots of. Oh wait, they already did that.
Hey,
hey,
that's an idea.
And then people will start filling in the section, and then okay, so now you have a new problem. How do you get them all singing? So maybe we'll figure that out later on. But I think helping that, putting banners maybe high up into the section will kind of break it up a little bit to make it look fuller.
Up in this general area here at the top.
What about tifos? What about tifos that we have used previously? Those are in the Harper family vault, right?
Yes, those are in the Harper family vault. Though a lot of them they have actually turned into it's basically the Blob, the 1960s film, but it's featuring tifos.
It's all paint and fabric.
If you open the Katie says, love this science lesson. Thanks for that, Ken.
I love Amateur Meteorology Corner. It's one of my favorite new segments on 24-Hour Purple People.
Definitely, that was awesome.
The 24-hour Purple People sun calculation.
Sun cal.
All right, we record those things off the air, gentlemen.
Okay. I'm sorry.
No, but when you open the closet door, it literally it more or less just attacks you. The tifos was like so I'm down for if those are what we want to use. I mean, we've certainly got some classics and some stuff that we could use if we choose to use, and we could make new ones, or we could reuse those and do something like that because they're already sewn together. The hardest part of the tifo creation process is just getting the fabric from point A to point B and then back from point B to point A, and the time it takes to do all that between those places and sew them and all that. Then you've got the drawing, lots and lots of steps. So if it's already sewn, it saves us some time. I said it'd be really neat if they all kind of tied together. So, maybe the left section, let's see if this, So maybe the left section here on the left side. Don't start playing again.
Oh, the Harper Strader.
Hold on a second here. The Harper Strader. Yes, thank you. So what's happening now? See what y'all made me do. Nevertheless, each section kind of connects. It looks like one giant banner from afar, if that makes sense. So not necessarily.
Yeah, kind of like it's a quilt. It's a quilt of tifos.
There you go.
What I mean, you're squeezing down the section. You're kind of breaking up the horizon. And
Now,
putting there's stuff in there.
One thing that you alluded to, Ken, is this 502 sale that they did. They actually have already, as of I believe Thursday afternoon, they had already sold out all tickets in the standing in the supporter section. I think they actually said in the Estopanol Inn of the stadium.
Yep.
That's very exciting.
It's exciting. It doesn't mean people are going to go into the.
That's
section.
the point I was going to make. Yeah, it doesn't necessarily mean those people are going to go to that section and stand there and watch the game.
But I would say, though, that maybe they will, and that will be awesome. The real question
Good
about
point.
Banners and stuff. Yeah, cool. Putting banners and stuff up there is great, but you need the people to do it. And we already do stadium. We've done stadium setup and teardown, as you guys are infinitely aware, for I don't know 8 years now or something like that. So, what you're adding a task, which is work. And at the end of the game, when you're tired as shit, the last thing you want to do is walk all the way to the top and start tearing down more banners. Because it's just you're freaking tired. So what would help? What would be the incentive to be able to do all of that?
I think John, Katie, and I think Benton as well. Benton hung some banners. I think we hung all the banners last Wednesday, and I was drenched in sweat afterwards. It was so hot.
Right.
That's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
I think draft beer would help. Draft beer.
I mean, I think you just kind of split
I don't know
that
if it'll
up.
help, but I'll try.
When I went on my colonization mission last game, I went to Scouts and they had this wonderful thing called draft beer. And it was wonderful. It came in cups and it was a little bit smaller than the giant cans, and it didn't get warm as you're drinking down to it, and you drank it and it flowed and it rejuvenated the body. Draft beer. You got to try it. Draft beer. You have to try it.
Gives me headaches.
Yeah.
What?
Draft beer gives me headaches.
It's called a hangover, John. Yeah, that's
No, it gives me headaches like within 2 hours.
How can draft beer give you headaches?
keep drinking.
I drank it and I get a headache.
You're not doing it right.
Oh.
Let Ken and I show you how to drink draft beer, John.
Doing it right.
We'll get to the
Explains
bottom
it.
of this. We'll figure this out.
We will get.
Rebecca says, "Can you sew all the TiVos together and fly them around to block the sun?" I don't know. We could definitely try it. Take off from Bowman. It'd be perfect. Hope says, "Set up capos. Drummers should all get beer tickets. What about those bourbon
certainly
slushies?
I think
Free bourbon slushies," says Katie.
that would
That's
work
a
too. Yeah,
Bad idea.
That might actually
you.
be counter. That might
for
be
you and
counter.
my shoe.
Oh dear. I think they really do need to look into a couple of different things, but I think that the key here is let's not get discouraged. Okay, we cannot fix every big problem, but we can keep trying things. Okay, we can keep on having brainstorming sessions. We can keep on doing episodes of this show. We can keep on talking. All of us can keep talking through Slack and different forms of media, Twitter maybe, whatever. The discussion needs to continue to go on and on and on. I think there will eventually be some sort of good solution. We shall see. We talked a lot about the USL schedule earlier in the program. Maybe a schedule shift might help some of that. Keep in mind, Louisville is about as far west in the Eastern time zone as you could possibly get. So that does not help matters as far as the sun's location at certain times. When we went to Boston, it's like 6:30, the sun's down. And, just the night before in Louisville, it's like 8:45. So there's a lot of little things that add up to a big, gigantic, sun-sized problem that eventually we will get over. But we can't hang our heads on it. We have to continue to move forward the best we possibly can. I think that if I had to predict, eventually they're going to find a way to do some sort of canopy type thing where between those poles I was explaining. That's just what I just have a feeling that might happen, just because that has been used in other soccer stadiums in the country already. So it makes me think we might do that as well.
We will fight for our right to drink beer the whole damn night, and the Coopers go rolling along. Woo!
I also
Win or
wanted to
lose,
show off
we don't care. Sorry.
that I have a matching soccer ball with this kit.
Is that a select ball?
This is an esports, e-soccer, e-football. I'll get it right eventually. Kit that was in my little prize package. Matt Owens also won a prize package. This is the
He's
video
on the show.
game.
We don't care about him.
Those who don't know, don't say that about Matt. Those who don't know, the sorry, Matt. Those who don't know, the eFootball game is the USL's football soccer game. It actually has the entire all the players, pictures, stats, whole 9 yards. Last time I played it, the game was almost unplayable. It was really, really bad. So, so hopefully it gets better. But nevertheless, I do like this select ball. I asked Katie, I said, do you think this is a good soccer ball? Because she played a lot of soccer, and she said yes. And then said, leave me alone. So anyway, I just thought I'd show you guys that soccer ball there. It'll sit right there now. Isn't that nice? The colony, Ken, the
Yes.
Cooper's colony. I also would like to give you a personal pat on the back and encouragement and say, hey, we didn't know they were going to be over there eating gourmet hot dogs. Okay, so maybe
Jim Beam.
we give it, and Jim Beam, we give it another go, or you give it another go. I don't care what you do, honestly. I do know that when I saw you after, toward the second half, or maybe by the end of the game, you were like, you looked fantastic. You looked like you had not been screaming, or like you weren't staggering. I was very confused.
Oh, hold on. Okay, so the mark in my book, when you've been to a good game, when the next morning you woke up and your voice is gone, you've got ringing in your ears, you're hungover, and there's cheese stuck to your ceiling. You know that has been a good night.
Yeah. That's
and you're picking out purple boogers out of your nose.
Oh,
There you go. That's a really good night.
Yeah, that's
That
a really
one.
good night.
Yep. That one for sure.
So I love the people in Scouser's house. I love Scouser, and I love Evan, and I love Joey, and I love them. They know
Calvin.
They know infinitely more about soccer. They've forgotten more about soccer than I will ever know. The issue is they're not kind of wild childs like me, and when I'm like grabbing onto the banister and trying to rip it out of the ground because there's some call that just didn't go my way, whether it makes sense or not, everybody's kind of looking at me like, who invited this guy into the section? And they're not, they have some songs. The songs are kind of weird because they're different from ours. They sing "We Love You City," we do, right? And they just kind of sing that randomly. We sing it when we're scored upon. So they start singing it. I'm like, did somebody score upon us? What happened? And it's just they're really into the game. They know a ton about the game, but they're not screaming bloody murder the whole game. So I think maybe I don't fit in all that well. So I may have to, once the sun goes down, wander back. But I was refreshed, and I was not super tired because I hadn't been standing in the sun the whole game. So,
and you weren't standing where you intended that you would be standing, or thought that you would be. So, I mean, give it another go.
Yeah.
So, Matt,
You want to get rid of him?
no,
Get rid of him, aren't you?
no.
it kinda seems
I
like
can
it.
tell you that the decibel level was lower without Ken over there.
Yeah, it certainly was. Yeah.
There's less damage to the stadium. Yeah, no, I get it.
Kick down, not back.
I don't do that.
Oh, and by the way, if your name is JT and I talked to you the other night, please contact me via Twitter so we can talk about capoing. We're active. We're always looking for people who want to capo. I know Lavender Legion does a really good job of saying we need drummers and capos, and we're always looking for people to get involved and help in a number of different ways. And if you know anybody or you're interested yourself in doing that, please, give us a holler, shoot the Coopers a message, drop them a line, drop me a line, whatever. We'll get you involved. We don't
24hourpurplepeople@gmail.com. You
Yep.
can find us online. Talk to us at the game. If you want a capo, come tell us. All right.
Yeah.
We want you to capo if you want a capo. It's so easy. These three idiots can do it. Right. We've been doing it for a long time.
And,
John had me up there for an hour.
Matt, since we do the same damn songs over and over every fucking game, then maybe we shouldn't be up there and we need some new folks. And if the songs are too difficult that nobody gets them, then whatever. But I've got some new songs. I do.
You just I know you're joking, but you made me so mad just now. So
What?
mad.
Target heart rate achieved.
I'm just
Yeah.
I'm just trying
Ooh.
to say what nobody needs to say. I do have some new songs, and we're going to try some new songs. Also, another thing, we are very open to if you've got a song idea, whatever. I mean, like, and it doesn't have to be an 80s song, believe it or not. We like songs from other
We like
eras
punk
of
songs,
music.
too.
Eras of music. Okay.
Only
Yeah, if you
80s
got
and punk rock.
suggestions.
That's all he get.
If you've got suggestions, please let us know. And you can come up to us and be like, hey, maybe you're doing this one a little too much. And I'll be like, oh, it sucks, man. I'll take that into consideration and we'll change that up. Just don't be a cunt online about it. And
Here's the
you'll get a
fucking
lot
thing.
more traction.
But you know, when I used to capo, people were like, "You should sing this like right now," and I'm like, "I can't fucking start a new song in the middle of a fucking game. It doesn't fucking work."
It's
like
harder than it looks.
that. Yeah, it's a lot harder
Yeah.
than it looks. People don't fucking understand. Anyway,
But I love doing it, and I will never stop doing it. If God forbid something happens to me and I have to do it sitting down, I'll freaking do it. Whatever, I'll do it.
what do you
It's-
think about
I'll
capo
put you on my
from the
shoulders,
stands?
bro.
John? What do you think
Mhm.
about capoing from the stands? Like being up in the stands, capoing from up in the stands.
I
I think
mean,
that's a good-
I think it's good. I think that, I mean, that's very similar to what we've kind of done before we did at Slugger. I believe that, I think if you do that, you don't do it on a box or any sort of elevated surface. You just do it on the same surface that everybody else is standing. My thing
Yeah,
would
you get
be,
bullhorn. You don't need to.
yeah, my thing would be, the only thing with that would be is we'd have to make sure we're pointing those bullhorns literally as basically straight up, because the way the stands are, it's a little different from Slugger. You got to think at Slugger, if you're standing in the middle of the people behind you were more or less that same level. So it wasn't like you were doing like this, but at Lynn, you're talking about a huge incline. I just don't want to be blowing somebody's eardrums out, not even thinking about that I'm literally pointing a bullhorn right at their face.
They'll move.
Yeah, out of the
They'll
section.
move. Yeah.
But, that's really about, I mean, that's kind of how I feel about it. Ken's frozen in time, so I'm going to keep talking for just a second.
I just thought he was conconcentrating really hard on what you were saying.
I
I
thought
didn't
he
even
was
notice.
too.
Honest to God.
For a second. He'll be back in a second. He's got dial up. It'll be all right. But but yeah, I think that's a possibility. I think maybe moving the capo stand up a little bit is a possibility. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Oh, Ken's back. And he's on the wrong side. All hell's
How did that
breaking
happen?
loose. Hope says do it.
Do what?
Do what? We need to know.
Just it. Do it.
Go up in the stands.
All right.
Huh? Ken's back. Okay.
Am I good?
Yeah, go ahead.
What I was going to say is, if you're in the stands, you don't necessarily have to scream through the capo every word of their song. You just start it and then put it down and sing with everybody.
Also a very good point. Also a
That's
very
what I
good point.
think. It's kind of getting into the crowd and getting everybody kind of around you to sing. So each group of people maybe, have a person that's like, hey, we're all going to sing this together and we're going to sing it with them. And all the groups get with all the other groups and they're all singing together at certain times. I think that'd be cool. Why do I still have a yellow card? What the fuck?
Well, the
They don't
yellow
go
was
away,
on the
bro.
it was on the left side of the screen, and you went to the right side of the screen, so I moved it from the left
So that's
to the
his.
right. No,
That's
that's
not
yours.
how it works.
It follows you wherever you go.
You're in the book, man.
Yep, you're in the book, and this episode is in the book, gentlemen. 24-Hour Purple People will return next
good.
Sunday evening at 7 p.m. Don't forget, we have a audio version of this show and every one of our episodes on Spotify and a lot of other podcast streaming platforms out there. So check it out. You can listen to all of our shows, and usually they drop on Wednesday mornings, give or take. Also, don't forget about following us on Twitter if you don't already. Hit that like button. That helps us get seen right here on YouTube. We really appreciate that as well. Facebook is Facebook, and we are also on Instagram. Instagram has been a lot of fun. We still don't know how to operate it. I keep
Not a
trying to
clue.
make real fast. Somehow I put some dance music over one of the videos I posted from the
That was a
summer
bop, too.
showcase.
It was good.
I had no idea how I did it. I don't get it, but it was really a lot of fun on Instagram, whatever I'm saying. For Matt Dalton and Ken Luther, we will see you next time, ladies and gentlemen. Keep it purple, fam. We love you guys. Thanks for joining us tonight in the chat, and have a good rest of your weekend. Goodbye, everybody.